Shocking moments, an attack at the heart of the world's energy. Iran launched a drone attack targeting one of the most important energy facilities in the world, the Saudi Aramco oil refinery in Ras Tanura, Saudi Arabia, the largest refinery in the Middle East with a capacity of around 550,000 barrels per day. What initially appeared to be a warning suddenly turned into flames and thick black smoke rising into the sky, visible from miles away. What really happened? The incident occurred amid a broader escalation of tensions in the Gulf region. Following major military strikes by the United States and Israel against Iran, Tehran responded with a series of drone and missile attacks targeting not only Israel and U.S. bases across the Gulf, but also critical energy infrastructure in several Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia. According to official reports, the drones were successfully intercepted. However, falling debris landed within the refinery complex, sparking a fire and causing operational disruptions. As a precautionary measure to secure the facility, operations at the refinery were temporarily suspended. A bigger impact than expected. The shutdown of the Ras Tanura refinery, one of the key export hubs for Saudi and global crude oil, sent shockwaves through global energy markets. Brent crude prices surged sharply as traders began pricing in the risk of unstable oil supplies. Beyond the refinery itself, reports indicated that Iranian drone operations also targeted energy facilities in Qatar, disrupting LNG production and affecting shipping activity through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical energy transit routes. Why this matters to the world? Indonesia, Asia, and Europe rely heavily on energy supplies flowing from the Mediterranean and the Persian Gulf. When a key facility like Ras Tanura is disrupted, global energy prices can surge even higher. Oil and gas transportation can face serious obstacles. Global economic stability can come under increased pressure. This is not just another regional conflict story, it is a dangerous signal that geopolitical tensions have begun dragging the world's economic infrastructure into an active conflict zone. The explosion was not merely flames rising high into the Saudi sky, it was a signal that the Middle East conflict had entered a far more dangerous phase. After drones struck the area surrounding Saudi Arabia's largest oil refinery, tension across the Gulf escalated instantly. Emergency sirens wailed, workers were evacuated, and energy security systems were raised to their highest alert level. The world was stunned. Because the target was not a military base, not an armed convoy, but the very heart of the global energy supply. Hours after the incident, regional security sources reported that the drones were believed to have approached from the northern Gulf, heading directly toward the refining complex that serves as a backbone of global oil exports. Saudi air defense systems successfully intercepted most of the drones, but falling debris ignited fires and forced a temporary shutdown of operations. It was that temporary shutdown that shook global markets. Every minute the refinery halted meant hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil held back from the global supply chain. Behind this attack, tensions had long been simmering. Relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia had once again intensified following a series of strong political statements and shifting military dynamics in the region. Iran had previously warned it would respond to any pressure or threat against its territory and interests. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia strengthened defense cooperation with Western allies. When the drones arrived, many analysts said this was not a surprise, but an escalation that had been building. What truly alarmed the world, however, was the impact. Global oil prices moved upward within hours. Energy markets in Asia and Europe reacted quickly. Investors sought safe havens. Oil importing nations began recalculating the potential cost surge. If disruptions continue, fuel prices could spike, triggering new inflationary pressures. And if inflation rises, a global economy still recovering from past shocks could face renewed instability. At the same time, naval security forces in the Gulf intensified patrols. Shipping routes around the Strait of Hormuz became a focal point of concern. That narrow strait is a critical artery through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply flows. If the conflict expands and this route is disrupted, the consequences would not be regional, they would be global. Tankers were reported to be navigating more cautiously. Shipping insurance premiums surged. All of this unfolded within hours of a single drone strike. The Saudi government stated that the situation was under control and that supplies remained stable. However, energy industry sources suggested it would take time to ensure all facilities were fully secure. Investigation teams began working to determine the origin and type of drones used. Were they long-range, high-technology systems, or simpler but highly effective platforms? The answer matters, because it will shape how regional defense systems adapt moving forward. Meanwhile, Iran has not issued any official acknowledgement of direct involvement, though regional media have linked the incident to rising geopolitical tensions. Observers describe this as a shadow war now becoming visible. The world is not just witnessing military confrontation, but economic and energy warfare. The question now is not only who is responsible, but what happens next. Will this trigger retaliatory strikes? Will allied nations be drawn in? Or will diplomatic pressure intensify in an effort to prevent further escalation? All possibilities remain open. For the global public, the most immediate impact is energy prices. When a major refinery is disrupted, supply decreases and prices rise. When prices rise, transportation and production costs increase. The ripple effects can stretch far, from gasoline prices to the cost of everyday goods. This is why this attack is not merely a regional headline, but a global economic concern. There is another rarely discussed point: attacks on energy infrastructure signal a shift in modern warfare strategy. If conflicts once centered on territorial control, today they increasingly target the systems that sustain economies. Infrastructure becomes the battlefield because its impact reaches far beyond borders. Now, the world watches closely over the next 24 to 48 hours. Will refinery operations fully normalize? Will there be follow-up attacks? Or will diplomacy take center stage? This uncertainty is what keeps markets on edge. The Middle East has never been simple. Every military move carries enormous political and economic consequences. This drone strike may have lasted only minutes, but its impact could be felt for months. And amid all the tension, the world is reminded of one truth: energy is not just about fuel. It is about global stability. When the largest refinery shakes, the entire world feels the tremor. And now, the world holds its breath. The flames may be contained. The smoke may begin to fade. Officials may say the situation is under control. But the real question remains: is this truly over? Because what we witnessed was not just an isolated strike. It was a message. A signal that the battlefield is changing. That energy infrastructure, the lifeline of the global economy, is no longer off limits. In the next 24 to 48 hours, every military movement, every diplomatic statement, every shift in oil prices could reshape the global landscape. Will there be retaliation? Will tensions cool down? Or are we standing at the edge of something much bigger? This story is still unfolding. And what happens next could affect fuel prices, global markets, and the stability of entire nations. If you want real-time updates, deeper analysis, and the full picture behind the headlines, make sure you stay with us. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications. And don't miss the next report, because in times like this, information is power. The world is changing fast. And you're here, watching history unfold in real time. Stay informed. Stay alert. We'll see you in the next update.